Hey there YouTube, Speedrobo here. I got a request to update my Riviere deck profile, so here we are. I'm doing this profile on area today because I don't have my Riviere deck with me, and I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible. So let's get started with the Forerunner. Bermuda Triangle Cadet Riviere. She's the grade 0 in the ride chain. Let's go into triggers. I run 4 heals, which is pretty standard. They work well in this deck. Then I run 4 crit. Important phrase Reyna, or cherished phrase Reyna, I believe she is in English. She's the Loris effect crit, and the reason I run her is because I do use the Loris stride in this deck. And then I run 8 stands, 4 Emil, and 4 Kirk. They both have very powerful effects that work well in this deck. Going into grade 1s, I run 4 copies of Mermaid Idol Riviere, the grade 1 in the ride chain. This wouldn't be much of a Riviere deck without her. 2 copies of Duo Clear Parasol Kura. She is the countercharge engine for this deck, and believe me, it needs it. This deck chugs Counterblast like nobody's business, and Kura's the best way to get it done. The reason I only run 2 copies of her is because I also run 2 copies of Nina. They have the exact same effect but a different card name, which means they work well with Olivia, because Olivia requires multiple different card names. Then I run 4 copies of Miracle Twin Tail Wiz. This is the Harmony Perfect Guard. You can run the Countercharge Perfect Guard in this slot if you so desire. I overall don't really like the Countercharge Perfects that much. They aren't very consistent for me to get the Countercharge, and the Harmony keyword is nice for activating Loris's powerful abilities, so that's why I use Twin Tail Wiz. Also, she bounces back to my hand, so that's cool. And 3 copies of Duo Happy Diary Cheryl. Cheryl is an absolutely phenomenal card. She has the same ability as Girls Rock Rio, and I've talked about Girls Rock Rio and Cheryl a lot on this channel, so we're just gonna move it on. Into grade 2s, 4 copies of Super Idol Riviere. Wow, I'm sure nobody saw this card coming. Yeah, she's in the deck at 4 copies, of course. Then 3 copies of Admired Sparkle Spica. Spica is still fantastic. She's not going anywhere. Counterblast 1, bounce a card, call a card, give it 3. This card's fantastic. It's always going to be fantastic. Why would you run anything else? And 3 copies of Girls Rock Rio. Speaking of cards that are fantastic and always will be fantastic, why would you ever run anything else? Girls Rock Rio. Counterblast 1, draw 1, Soul Charge 1 on bounce. Because of the Soul Charge 1 and how it interacts with Kura, she effectively pays for herself, making this a free draw on bounce. Why would you not want that? She's great. 3 copies. And going into grade 3s, 4 copies of Top Idol Riviere. Not surprising. 4 copies of Rising Star Trios. Not surprising either. She's the Legion. Legions with Top Idol Riviere, Counterblast 3, discard 3. Ouch, that's hefty. At the end of the battle, if this unit attacked, if she's in Legion, you may pay the cost. If you do, stand all of your vanguards. Can't be used for the rest of the turn. This is super overcosted for what it does. Back a year ago, when I made this deck profile, the cost was still hefty, but it was within the range of, that's not too bad, I can still use this. With how the meta is now, this ability just isn't good anymore. You need to be restanding for free, or restanding, or just attacking 3 times with your Vanguard during a turn for any deck to be relevant in this meta. This just can't cut it anymore. It just can't. I'm sorry. I love this deck. I love Riviere. It's a lot of fun to play, but this deck is not competitive. It's just not. It's casual, because that cost is just too hefty. Even with Kura pulling maximum effort, that discard 3 is such a kick in the pants. Now her effect that I like a lot more is when she rides Super Idol, you search your deck for Top Idol and put it into your hand. This effectively makes your first strike free, assuming you pull off the chain. So that's neat. Now, one thing you could do to play around with this deck a bit is that Vert is easily the strongest card in the clan at the moment. So one option I've been toying with for this deck is taking out 2 copies of Riviere, maybe 1 copy of Trios, and running Vert at 2 or 3, depending on how much of Riviere and Trios you take out. This gives you access to the powerful Prism Strides, and the Break Ride into Trios is nice. So that's all good, but if you do take out the Riviere, you do completely shut out the option of Persona Blasting, which isn't too bad because the Persona Blast is also pretty weak. It's okay, not great. So that's an option. Another option is if you really like the Loris Grade 3, you could run that at 2 or 3 if you felt like it. So putting out some options, hey man, if you really feel like it, you could run Mirror. Mirror's also not a bad break ride to go into to break ride, go into Trios, and then you get another rear guard, full field rear guard attack, as well as restaining your Vanguard. It is going to consume all of your material. There's no doubt about it. You are going to just suck up everything you've got, but it's still not bad. So there's some other options. I still run 4 and 4 because I like consistency. But you could run Mir, Vert, or Loris if you felt like it in your grade 3s. And the last thing is Strides. Since my last deck profile, the G-Zone's been up to 16. The G-Zone's been up to 16. Ugh. Well, anyway, let's get right into it. I run 2 Loris. This card's pretty great. Generation Break 2, Counterblast 1, flip any cards you want face up, choose the same number of your rear guards as the number of face-up cards in your G-Zone, return them to your hand, and till end of turn, this unit gets auto Vanguard. When this unit attacks Vanguard, if all your units are in harmony, choose up to 3 of your units, and until end of turn, they gain plus 5,000 power, and this unit gains critical plus 1. This is basically a stronger version of Riviere's Persona Blast. The only downside is that it requires your full field to be in harmony. Part of the reason why I run the Harmony Perfect Guard is to get that happening. But even if you can't get the Harmony thing happening, Counterblast 1 for full field bounce, nothing to sneeze at. It's good stuff right here. Then I run 1 copy of Amoris because she's a good first stride, run 1 copy of Selmany because she's a good first stride, run 2 copies of Alprina because she's a good first stride, and 4 copies of Olivia because she's still just overall the best G unit that Bermuda Triangle has gotten. She's in here at 4. You kind of need her at 4. A year ago, you didn't need 4 of her. You do now. You do now. And then G Guardians, 3 Leona, 1 Nasha. I also run 2 Cray Elementals in here. 1 Dismal, because Dismal's good, and 1 Madu, because it's a Legion deck, and it allows some free strides if you need to do that. So that's been the Riviere deck profile. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I've been Speedrobo. Thank you for watching.